Every 39 seconds, someone falls victim to a cyber attack. In fact, by the time you finish watching this video, dozens of applications would have been compromised worldwide. And here's what actually might surprise you. Most of these attacks don't necessarily break through network firewalls or sophisticated network defenses. They walk right through the front door of poorly secure applications. So, what is application security all about? Application security, or AppSec, is the practice of protecting software applications throughout their entire life cycle. This means building security considerations into every phase, from the initial design and development all the way through deployment and ongoing maintenance. Security has to be a part of the entire process. Think about application security as the difference between a house with a strong perimeter fence but unlocked doors or weak locks on the doors versus a house where every door, every window, and every entry point is properly secured. Network security and security on all the other layers of the OSI model focus on the perimeter, like the firewalls, intrusion detection systems, network monitoring, infrastructure, and all of that. But application security secures the actual doors and windows of your digital house. AppSec involves implementing multiple layers of protection. This includes building security controls directly into your code. It also includes using automated tools to scan for vulnerabilities, implementing proper authentication and access controls, continuously monitoring applications for suspicious activity, and also doing rigorous testing for security vulnerabilities before applications go into production and actually after as well. The scope of application security covers all types of applications. So web apps that run in your browser, mobile apps that run on your phone and tablets, desktop software, operating systems, even APIs that connect different systems together. And each of them have unique security challenges that require unique approaches. And in this day and age, this also includes artificial intelligence. Lots of applications are starting to adopt this new technology, and application security includes securing these AI features and preventing AI based attacks. The assumption used to be that if you could keep the attackers outside of the network perimeter, everything inside is going to be safe. And this approach worked when most applications were simple and ran almost entirely within corporate networks. However, today's applications are fundamentally different. They are built using dozens or hundreds of third-party components and libraries, connect to multiple internal and external services and API. They run in cloud environments, in multiple networks. But most importantly, by design, they are designed to be used and accessible to users from anywhere in the world through the open internet. You can't escape that. And when an application has a vulnerability like SQL injection or broken access controls, the attacker doesn't even need to penetrate the network. They can exploit these vulnerabilities directly through normal user interactions with the application. They can submit malicious data through the forms or manipulate API requests or find ways to access data that they shouldn't be able to access. And through these vulnerabilities, um, attackers could be able to execute code directly on your network, on your infrastructure, and escalate to more serious attacks. I'll give you an example. The 2017 Equifax breach, the attackers exploited a vulnerability in the Apache Struts web app framework. And of course, this wasn't a network intrusion. The attackers found an unpatched vulnerability in a publicly accessible web app and then used that vulnerability to access sensitive data of 147 million people. Network security didn't help there. Let's let's reflect on how application security failures play out in the real world. The OWASP Top 10, OWASP is an organization called Open Worldwide Application Security Project, and they basically deal with all things application security. They are like a huge organization, and one of their main projects is the OWASP Top 10. And broken access control is at the top of this list. These flaws allow users to access data or perform actions beyond their intended permissions, or even allow unauthenticated users to access authenticated functionality. We also have injection attacks, which includes SQL injection, cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting is super common, even though we've understood these types of attacks for many, many years now. And these attacks occur when applications accept untrusted inputs from users without proper validation. And this now allows the attacker to inject malicious code. And that code gets executed by the application and gives them access to databases or ability to steal sessions and other information from users. Supply chain vulnerabilities is also very dangerous and is increasingly concerning with the way modern applications rely on third-party libraries and frameworks. When these components contain vulnerabilities, they can affect thousands of applications at the same time. Very common example is the Log4j vulnerability in 2021. Because this library was widely used, it's affected millions of applications worldwide. We also have cryptographic vulnerabilities that expose sensitive data. And the thing is, even though we have strong encryption tools, many applications still use weak encryption methods, store sensitive data in plain text, or incorrectly implement cryptographic protocols. So, what is actually needed for effective application security? Effective application security requires a comprehensive approach that addresses multiple dimensions of risks. Secure software development practices are very important, where we implement security from the very beginning of our development process rather than trying to add it in at the end or after the product has already been developed. We also need to be able to track all our assets. If you don't know something, or if you don't even know if it exists, you can't even protect it. So we need to have a good inventory of our applications, the frameworks and libraries they use, any kind of like third party dependencies, the sensitive data that they handle. And this inventory should also include, known vulnerabilities for all components. Now, we also need to implement things like least privilege across all aspects of the application, proper access controls and things like that. There's so many things, so many things relating to application security, and I'm going to be doing a series of videos covering this. But application security might seem a bit overwhelming, especially with all the different concepts. But just remember that every expert started somewhere, started from the basics. And things like the OWASP top 10 makes it easy to understand these security risks. There are lots of free resources out there, and it's something that you can learn if you put your mind to it. If you're a developer, that's incorporating security thinking into your day-to-day work. Learn to validate user inputs, implement proper auth, and use secure coding practices for handling sensitive data. So that's it for today. I'll leave the deep dives into these specific things for the video series. Yeah, hope you've been able to learn one or two things. I'll see you on the next one.